One of the things that I love about us as a community, we talk about not doing just activity to check the box, not doing activities that are addressing issues at the surface. We try to get to and partner with organizations that are doing things that are targeting the root cause of the problem. We don't want to be a church that is just, again, checking boxes just to make us feel good about ourselves. This is not about us. It's about the other, right? It's about how do we serve other people.
I think people who call Mill City home are people who are drawn to action, and so that's something that we've learned as we've attended Mill City. I've really found this community of people who are following after Jesus, but are finding unique ways to put that into action in their neighborhoods, in their workplaces, in the communities that they're a part of.
Well, what draws us to Mill City is purpose, I think, and a clear sense of mission. The idea of loving your neighbor in the name of Jesus, or this community in the name of Jesus, and then putting real action and real heart behind that, and it feels like a very intimate, caring community, and so it works really well for us.
People want to join in, they want to participate, and there's a real sense that we're able to do more good in the name of Jesus together than we would be able to do apart. So whether that's the church at large or breaking into our smaller groups we often call missional communities, I think that's a very strong motivator for our community to join into the things that are happening around us.
So one of the things we believe really deeply at Mill City is that everybody is a minister. And we try to structure our life together to really empower and equip people to do the thing that God's calling them to do. And we say things like, whenever you're following Jesus and doing what God's inviting you to do in your life, you are a Mill City church.
Missional community is the way we organize our group life here at Mill City. It's kind of what it sounds like. It's a group of people, a community of people who are on mission. And sometimes I say they're taking a bite-sized chunk out of our larger mission. So what does it look like for a group of people to say we're going to choose a specific section of community that we're going to focus on to love in the name of Jesus? But these missional communities also function kind of like an extended family on mission. They get together, they eat together, they pray together, they study the Bible together, but they're also a group that has a mission together. And we feel as though that's a real distinction, because people who are standing side by side and moving in a direction towards each other are able to overcome a lot of differences and are able to stay focused on a shared mission in a way that I think really helps people to bear that image of God that's better together than apart with all of our differences, and unity, not uniformity. And I think it's been a really wonderful experience for our community, for those who have participated in them.
Welcome to my studio, come on in.
Art-A-Whirl is, I think, the biggest art crawl in the Midwest, and it's right here in Northeast Minneapolis. And of course, when we were in the year with the pandemic, with COVID-19, that was not going to be possible in May of 2020. And so we had a missional community called Craft, whose goal is to figure out how to love the artist community in the name of Jesus, who had been participating with the art community for a number of years. And so they got together, it's not even a huge group of people, but they got together and they said, what could we do to love the artists in this difficult time? And long story short, they were able to rally videographers in the Twin Cities and photographers to go around and to capture different studios so that Art-A-Whirl could be moved online. And so they were a vital part of making sure that this beautiful display of the creativity that God's given all these people still was on display, even in such an unusual time. And I bet most people don't even know how critical of a part of that they truly were, but that was a group of people asking that question, how do we love people in this way? How might God invite us to join in? And that was the way that God used them in just this unusual season. Another missional community was called Devoted, and their heart was to show women who are dancers in the sex industry that there is a God who's devoted to them, who loves them, and that they could do that by building relationships. And so they would go downtown into various clubs and they would build relationships with those women. And some of you might listen to that and say, oh, how did that go? Well, you'd be surprised if you bring cupcakes that they'll let you into the room and get to know some of these folks and ask them questions like, what are your dreams for your life? Because arguably most of these women have other things that they're hoping to do with their life, and maybe they're paying their way through school. There's so many different reasons that folks might be in that industry, and wanting to just encourage them that their life matters and that they're valuable in an industry that arguably would make them feel as though their body and their life doesn't matter in the same way. And so we've seen some beautiful relationships that were built through groups like that, including strippers joining us at Easter and other types of invitations that I think is really courageous for those ladies to join in. And it's been a really beautiful thing to see relationships built in that way.
This wasn't initiated by the pastoral staff. It was initiated by people in the church. But the staff supports that. And so what we have is a true partnership between the leadership of the church and the members of the church. And that partnership is better than any I've seen, including the churches that I've served. And it inspires us to see that happening.
When I see what God is doing in Northeast Minneapolis, I think it's, first of all, this actual like, hey, how can you be a community that actually lives out the way that I lived out my life when I was here on earth? And really loving this community, standing up for the vulnerable, standing up for people that are on the margins. I think God's really encouraging the church to say, hey, how do you actually live this out instead of living out these stereotypes of being judgmental or just concerned with our own like buildings and stuff? How do you actually lean into the community?